The debate in Washington about lifting these sanctions began actually at the tail end of the Biden administration. Conditions were placed for the eventual lifting of those sanctions. What Trump did when he came in is he put that on the fast track. And this was largely a response to lobbying and support from Saudi Arabia, but also from Turkey to see the lifting of those sanctions because they support that government. The US side very much wants to see progress on counterterrorism, on relations with Israel, but also on the protection of minorities, or the Russian footprint in Syria, all these issues. But in true Trump fashion, rather than have a conditional, gradual lifting of sanctions, he announced in Saudi Arabia the total lifting of those sanctions. And we saw that promise come to fruition today in the announcement from Washington, D.C. I was surprised when he announced it in May. Even the Saudi hosts, the foreign minister had been through Washington, D.C. The Saudi foreign minister had very much discussed that issue with the Trump administration. I think even the Saudis were caught off guard by how quickly and how and uncategorical the Trump lifting of sanctions, the announcement was. I think today the timing is interesting because the president's envoy, Tom Barak, is due in Syria later this week for negotiations on what comes after, how to not only build on the bilateral ties, but also on how to move the ball forward between potentially Syria and Israel towards a disengagement agreement. And so the timing is interesting in that sense. The group itself has went through many phases. It used to be part of Al-Qaeda Central. It then became Jabhat al-Nusra, which was kind of the local Syrian affiliate. And after that, it morphed in various iterations, the last of which was HTS, Hayat Tahrir al-Sham. So this is a group that has changed significantly. I can tell you from my meetings with senior officials in the region, intelligence and security folks who've watched the group very closely, they've been surprised by the level of change that that group has underwent in a very short period of time. And it's still a question out there amongst many of them as to whether that change is genuine, but whether also it's lasting, and then that's one that they can actually build on and engage on the basis of. So far, it seems that most of Syria's neighbors in the U.S. are willing to take that chance and see if they can make real lasting progress with the new government in Syria. I think the verdict is still out. I think they wouldn't have gotten the answer for that question unless they tried. And so they are trying. It's certainly a positive step that this is being supported by key actors in the region, Turkey, a bordering state with a lot of influence, and also Saudi Arabia, an Arab Muslim state that supports the new change in Syria. And so there's a lot of optimism in the air. There's a big opportunity at hand. It's very important to not squander it. I think whether Syria will be able to get it together at the end of the day remains an open question. President Ahmad al-Shara is expected to be at UNGA, the United Nations General Assembly, in September. The Trump administration, because they've lifted their sanctions, there's still the UN sanctions. My understanding is that the administration will also put forward a resolution at the UN Security Council to lift those sanctions. So I think there's a very good chance, if things continue to be on track, that Ahmad al-Shara will be well received at the UN General Assembly and that these sanctions will be lifted. I don't have big concerns about the pace of the sanctions being lifted. I think what's important is to follow through on some of the expected changes in terms of minority protection and minority rights, and also rule of law, governance, and democracy in that country. This is a country that for the past 5 decades has been ruled under very firm authoritarian rule of the Assad dynasty. It will take some time to transition. It's not going to be kind of a Western democracy overnight, but it's important to show the support that will allow Syria to continue to be on the right track. And in that sense, Western support ought to be conditional.